Dodgers fans, welcome to another episode of Dodgers Wrap 360. Mike's gone, but I'm here, and the Dodgers an average week. We're about to talk about it. Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's a good song, LA. Welcome into another week of Dodgers Wrap 360. What you guys think about this one?
Well, Brett Anderson is back, and the Pirates certainly
Hold
welcome
on,
him
I'm
back.
talking about the song.
Oh.
Which they played at the Rams game this week as well.
They did. Welcome, guys. My name is Michael Rippe. I'm your host. You can find me all over social media at Mike Rips. I'm joined by two lovely gentlemen. Tell them who you are, guys.
Hunter Marks.
And Josh Gershon.
And I'm sure you can catch them somewhere on social media.
Oh yeah, you can catch me at Gersh13. Not to be confused with the college basketball scouting Josh Gershon.
Nope.
That's a nice little mix-up there.
Yeah.
And I'm Hunter_Marks at Twitter. Tweet me.
That's right. So tell them what you think about their performances tonight, and tell them all about the Dodgers, because we would like to talk to you. So, average week, guys, for the Dodgers, 3-3. Took 2 from the Phillies, 1 from the Pirates. Overall feelings of the week, gentlemen.
Going 3-3 is fine with this rotation. The pitchers are out, and the guys keep hitting, so I'm actually okay with this so far. Just swinging in, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the pitching staff has been, you guys go at 500 at this point. It's probably a win.
Definitely.
Impressive. In fact, it's going to be a major theme of tonight's episode, pitching, because the Dodgers have a lack of pitching, but yet are still getting by with the pitching.
Yeah.
So let's start with Brett Anderson, today's starter, finally back from injury. And
the Pirates welcomed him back in style.
Right, and he leaves today's game injured. So, I mean, where are we? This guy, huge year last year, and really depended on this year to start the season, we thought, and yet finally makes it back and immediately makes it through only an inning, gives up 5 runs, and hurt again. So, you know, what do you guys think about Brett Anderson?
It's his first game back. Yeah, he got hurt again, but I don't think he's going to be the deal too long. I don't know if we have word on that yet, but, you know, it always takes a little couple games to get going, get the feel of the game rhythm going, so he'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm not as optimistic about Brett Anderson. Well, given his history, number one. And this is almost like deja vu with Hyun-Jin Ryu because it's a different injury. What he left the game today was not the same injury that he was out with. Now he's worrying about another problem, which, you know, seems to be the theme of their pitching staff.
And if you didn't see today's game, Brett Anderson left the game with a sprained left wrist. It seemed like more he had a sprained ego from getting shelled early. So we'll see what it really was. But I think he's not going to be – I personally think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Moving forward. As far as health-wise, as far as can he perform, that's another scenario. Let's talk about some of the other pitchers because it's
who's left?
It's really like Survivor.
It is.
And let's talk about one healthy pitcher that was a star this week for the Dodgers, and that's our young phenom, Urias.
Yeah, he was great this week. I mean, he struggled a little bit the other day. He gave up I think he's actually wide. I think he walked 3 guys. Yeah. Got out of trouble though. Still striking out guys. But, I mean, to me, he's coming along really nicely. I know the innings limit, I think, is kind of thrown out the window at this point because they don't have an option.
He's forced to pitch.
Yeah, he's forced to pitch. So I think they're kind of doing away with the innings limit. But, I mean, I really have high hopes for him. I'm kind of glad they didn't get rid of him. I mean, to me, unless you got Chris Sale, maybe Chris Archer in return, I'm glad they didn't trade him.
No, that was good. I was happy that they kept him.
Yeah.
And like we said, the Dodgers were 3-3 this week, and he had 2 of the victories. Yeah. So really carrying the team almost.
He's improving with each game, which is he's further ahead of schedule than anybody probably anticipated, and he's just doing better. And he's shown that he's going to be a strikeout pitcher in this league. Yeah. And like Josh said, once he kind of gets his control control under control, you know, he'll get it going.
Yeah, because I remember early Kershaw, it was the walks. The walks always killed him. He always had a low ERA, always had high strikeouts, but it was when he started walking guys. In his early days, that's when he started getting crushed.
You know, it's one of those things for young pitchers usually that it's hard for them to get through innings quick and not kind of trust their. A lot of times they don't trust their stuff totally at the big league level, so they'll knit and pick. And
he seems to trust his stuff because he's shown quite an arsenal of pitches that he's willing to throw in any scenario, which I like to see. It doesn't always work. I think that's contributed to his high walk count, but I like the fact that he's going for it and he's trying things and trying his curveball, trying his slider when he's behind in the count.
Yeah.
So and he's only 20. He just turned 20, right?
Yeah.
I believe.
Young.
Just Friday or Saturday, he just turned 20, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question, but I want to hold it for a second. Let's move on to Rich Hill, a guy who the last time I was on the program wasn't on the Dodgers, and yet I guess he's on the Dodgers. He hasn't pitched yet. I was vouching for him, and I'm excited for the Dodgers that they got him because I think he could be very helpful. He's been slated to start a couple times and yet hasn't been able to do it because of what they call an extreme blister. I don't know if you guys have ever had an extreme blister. Tell us in the chat. Tell us on Twitter and social media. What is
Details,
that?
please.
What's the difference between a blister and an extreme blister? But
I imagine is it going from instead of that big, it's about this big? Like what's the story?
So he hasn't been able to pitch yet. He's had many tentative dates to start, and yet each time the extreme blister has taken control. But right now he's slated to make a rehab start in Oklahoma City this Monday, and if all goes well, he will start next Saturday against Cincinnati. On the road,
which is a nice warm-up game because Cincinnati not a strong team.
Exactly,
it's a good game to get him back, especially because we'll need him against the Giants.
Absolutely.
So it's a good way to start there.
Nonetheless, if we can get him back anytime, it would be great. But it would be great to have him in Cincinnati. I think he's going to be crucial to the Dodgers' chances this season. And I got to say, from the last time I was on the program to now, it's for me. I think the Dodgers are in a position that's exciting. I think that with the addition of Rich Hill, I think we're getting word now on Clayton Kershaw that he probably will return.
Yeah.
He's been throwing actively this week from further distances, testing himself out. And while he hasn't gotten on a mound yet, it does look like he's going to be able to return sometime in September. And I want to move along to talk about Clayton. So that gives big hope for the guys as they're playing right now and fans for the rest of the season. Because now we're looking at a team that can not only get into the playoffs, but potentially make some noise.
Oh yeah, with a healthy Kershaw and a healthy Rich Hill, that's a good 1-2 punch.
That's a great 1-2. And sorry to cut you off, but think about that 1-2 if they can leapfrog San Francisco and not have to play in that wild card kind of playing game to the playoffs. Then we're talking about
this is a team nobody wants to face in the playoffs. So that's what we're talking about. Then all of a sudden the Dodgers are becoming contenders, and not just a team that kind of could sneak into the playoffs.
And we're looking at maybe if the Dodgers can get that NL West division title, we're looking at a first round matchup with Washington,
which we can beat.
Which we found out on the road that we can beat.
Yeah. Which has a suspect manager when it comes to playoff time. If you ask me, Dusty Baker's never been able to get it done in the playoffs.
Oh no, never.
So
epic collapse against the Angels in that World Series.
Many times. So if we're Dodgers fans, we need to be looking at the playoffs and looking at if we can get that NL West, which is right there for the taking.
It is right there.
San Francisco is asking LA to take it. Basically
they're
begging them, take it.
They uncharacteristically blew a 7-1 lead, I think, in the 8th inning today.
Yeah.
It was, Cueto pitched fine, today.
And the
bullpen just blew it. I mean, that's not like the Giants. I mean,
they're a hot mess, that bullpen right now.
I know it's an even year, which is normally, bodes well for the Giants, but I mean, the Dodgers are still technically the best team since the All-Star break, I believe.
They're they're actually 24-16 since Kershaw's been gone.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
And they lead the league in slugging since he's been gone, and I think on base percentage since he's been gone. So it's
everyone's hitting. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off there, but like the beginning of the year, going into the All-Star break, Harley Kendrick was struggling, Adrian Gonzalez was struggling. Now all of a sudden, these guys are hitting, and Rob Cedric, what a blessing in disguise this guy has been. Career minor leaguer coming up to the Dodgers, showing soon he can hit a little bit.
So to get back on track, right? So Kershaw looks like he's going to return. Rich Hill, if he gets rid of this extreme blister and is ready to go, we're looking at a 1-2. This is where the question that I held off on saying, and I want you guys to tell us in the chat whenever you watch this or listen to us on a podcast, who's our third starter in the playoffs?
Maeda.
Maeda?
I think so.
Maeda,
definitely.
Right.
He's been your most consistent guy. I mean, his CRA is still in the low 3s.
Okay.
He at least goes 6-7 innings. We've had a problem with
not
Dodgers.
7 innings, not yet.
Well, not 7 innings, but
well, I ask you that in the sense that is Maeda R2 or R3? Because do you want to split the lefties? You want to go lefty right?
I think it depends on the matchup, but for the sake of the argument right now, it's Kershaw, Hill, Maeda, Casimir, and then I think the fifth one's kind of up for grabs.
And do you think Casimir's got a lock on that fourth spot? I mean, could we say maybe Urias?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could see Urias. If Urias pitches the way he's been pitching, how can you not throw him out there? I mean, he's even pitched in high leverage situations. I mean, they've kind of thrown him to the wolves and been like,
he's done fine.
Like, let's see what you got, and he's been responding. So I mean, Casimir can be good. So it is he does go hot and cold, but it's. I can't see him having a sure lock on that number.
Right. 4. I would say that, and tell us what you guys think. Do you think that the number 4 spot for the LA Dodgers pitching rotation, if the playoffs call for it, who would that be? Would it be Kazmir? Would it be Urias?
Or both?
Could it be somebody we're not even thinking of?
Different series, different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see them if Kazmir struggles, because all his struggles are usually in the first 2 or 3, first 2 innings.
Quick hook.
Yeah, yank him, put in Urias, who can give you 3 or 4 innings at least.
And in the playoffs, everybody has a quick hook, so absolutely. Yeah. Now, let's talk about a guy that returned recently, another pitcher who seemed to have it going well, and then has just imploded and is now back on the DL, and that's Brandon McCarthy.
Yeah, that was a shame.
That's just a bad luck. He actually was showing glimpses of like being healthy and pitching fine and kind of getting a couple wins and going deep in games for Dodgers, really when we needed it. And Kershaw first went out. But he said he had a really bad outing last time. Obviously, he's on the DL now, so hopefully we should have a speedy recovery.
Brandon McCarthy on the DL, forced from his start on Saturday after a 1 2/3 with a right hip stiffness.
That doesn't sound good.
No,
that does not sound good.
He had walked 5, hit 1 of the 13 batters he faced. It's not good. Not good.
And if you watch that game, you could tell that something was definitely wrong with his motion.
He threw 29 of the 51 pitches out of the strike zone. Yeah. So that's clear sign that something is up.
Yeah, because that was the same thing when Kershaw got hurt. You could tell because he was walking guys and missing the zone. Even if Kershaw gets hammered, like his one bad outing was against the Marlins, right? Mm-hmm. He was still in the zone. Guys were hitting the ball. He's usually not out of the strike zone, so you could just tell with McCarthy. You're like, oh god, something is definitely wrong with him right now.
Yep.
On that game, and that was a game too that was interesting because the Dodgers had 12 hits and scored 1 run.
That was an interesting game.
A lot of guys stranded, a lot of runners stranded.
So do we think that Brandon's lost for the season, or could we potentially see him towards the end of September?
I don't think he's lost for the season, but we don't know yet. We don't have word out.
Well, we don't know, but I'm asking you guys. I mean,
I'm a little worried that it's going to be longer than a 15-day. I think so. Because you look at Kersh with the back, the hips, those are all, for pitchers, they're so valuable. It's not like especially Kershaw, when you're a power pitcher, you're throwing from everywhere. And with McCarthy, that hip issue, I mean, if that hip's bothering him, how's he going to go out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
How's he, it's one of those injuries that if it doesn't heal right, is going to linger.
And he even said, Brandon McCarthy said that he was losing confidence recently because with the walks, and he knew something was up. He thought he had it figured out, but clearly he didn't. He's back on the DL. Let's turn it to some of the pitchers that are coming back now.
Probably some good news.
Maybe some good news. And let's look at a guy that's been huge this season out of the pen, Adam Liberatore. And he's slated to possibly come back on Tuesday.
Well, he's been the anchor of our bullpen when we really needed it. So hopefully he's coming back and he's gonna
lefty power arm. I mean, because I'm not a big fan of Howell.
Right.
Avalon has been really hot and cold. I liked a little bit of what we saw from what's the kid Drayton. I didn't mind some of the stuff we saw. I know the other day against the Phillies he did give up a home run finally, but I actually didn't mind some of the stuff we saw from him. It'd be nice if you get if a Drayton can actually come around with a healthy Liberatore. I like those 2 arms coming out of the pen more than I trust Howell.
Definitely.
I like or Avalon. I like Liberatore and this kid Drayton more than I like them.
Okay.
So it'd be nice to have Liberatore back.
We need him back now.
Yeah. and another pitcher slated to return and he would start is Bud Norris.
Yeah, I think he's slated to start Wednesday, actually.
Yeah. So he could be back in the rotation that keeps being juggled, and you never know who's starting from game to game. He should be a healthy addition to the starting rotation.
Can you imagine being Dave Roberts right now, and just dealing with in and out, and yet what a steady.
What a first season as a manager.
I know, just right? 27 different guys on the DL. I think 29 now total. Like guys who've come up and then had to go back.
Yes.
So technically it's a record, although I think the Red Sox did actually have 28 different guys go to the DL.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's been extraordinary, actually. The amount of bad luck and everyone knocked Friedman for getting depth over stars. At the beginning of this year, everyone knocked him for getting the depth over the stars, and he's needed that depth.
And that's a credit to Dave Roberts that he's done a really tremendous job with this team going through such crazy transition. I was one that said I thought when Kershaw went down, they were going to struggle mightily, and they've done the opposite. Yeah. So it's been super impressive. You got to give the manager of a baseball team in his first year a lot of credit.
Absolutely, you got to give the credit to the manager, but the guys have been hitting, and I can't stress this enough. Of guys who weren't hitting who've come around because nobody was expecting this, and we need our pitchers back because the guys hitting right now can keep this up and carry this team. They've been asked to carry a heavy load, and they've been doing it.
So I ask you guys, and I ask you guys out there, how would you rate Dave Roberts' job as manager so far? if I say 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, where do you put his job so far through the 3 quarters of this season?
I mean, you got to go 9 to me at least.
Okay.
I'm going to go 8. Well, I'll let you further expand on
Well,
that.
I say only that because at first I didn't like some of the moves he was at first when the team was mostly healthy. The beginning of the season, he made to me a lot of. I mean, they're rookie manager mistakes, right?
Sure.
Taking guys out when he shouldn't, leaving guys in when he shouldn't. But the way he's handled all this chaos lately, I've got to give him so much credit. Really do. The way pitchers coming in and out like crazy, rookies coming up. Just you don't know what you made. They made trade for Chavez and Ravin and. Who's the other guy? Fields that they picked up, these random guys, that they just need now to fill holes. They just got nothing left out there. Yep. To me, it's been pretty amazing. And I do like that when a guy struggles, this is where I knocked Mattingly. Like Baez, when Baez was struggling, he did knock him down, in his rotation. Sure. Whereas Mattingly kind of kept him up, I'll put him in a high leverage situation. Eventually he'll come out of it kind of thing. And it's like, no, well, he didn't. He's just, and at least Roberts, I think, he kind of goes with the hot hand, I think, a little bit. I'm only worried about overtaxing the bullpen now.
That's clearly the issue. The one thing I like is that we're getting close to September, so we'll have September call-ups. Yep. Expand the rosters. As we know, September 1, the rosters go from 25 to 40. That will help out a lot, especially for this Dodgers team where the bullpen, the pitching, has been very taxed. And you got to think that hopefully with some of these guys returning, that September may be a little bit easier. It's going to be a pennant race. They're in a pennant race, though, with San Francisco. It's really tight, and I would like to see. I'm excited because I'm hoping that the Dodgers can get that NL West title now.
Me too.
Because I before I'm looking at the, a month ago, I was looking at the standings, and I'm looking at the Dodgers thinking, okay, if we get to the wild card game, it's going to be a tough wild card game, but no matter what, we're going to lose Kershaw for the next series, at least getting 2 starts out of him, max. And so it's exciting to think now the Dodgers have a real shot to make a deep run in October.
Yeah, this is a team nobody's going to want to face.
Not at all, especially because I think that the pressure, which in past years for Dodgers fans and Dodgers has been high, once you get to the playoffs, I think this year it seems like it won't be so much pressure. They're kind of the underdogs right now. We've got the Cubs, we've got the Giants been leading all season. I mean, the Nats. So the Dodgers if they get in there, kind of as the underdog, it takes a lot of pressure off.
Especially with everything that's happened this year, it's almost like, hey, they made it. It's almost like
a lottery ticket.
Yeah, it's like, wow, they made it. Great. I think people will be more excited instead of expecting the World Series. Because don't forget, when Friedman kind of came in, they kind of came in with that attitude of World Series or bust.
Yes.
So it'll be kind of like, oh, hey, this was just a happy year. Everything that we've gone through this year, and we won the division. Wow, that's amazing.
Do you think he'll be on the hot seat if the Dodgers become an early flame out in the playoffs?
Andrew Friedman or Dave Roberts?
The management. No, Andrew Friedman.
No, absolutely not.
No, I don't think so.
I think that Andrew Friedman has he's got a longer term. General managers usually have more time anyways, and also he clearly instituted a new policy kind of in direction for this Dodgers franchise, letting Greinke go, kind of moving to a youth movement and more statistical, analytical, front office. Some of the moves that they've made and keeping with the young guys. So I think they have a vision out here for 3-4 years, and this is just year 1. And I think realistically, if you would have told them that Kershaw would be injured for this long, they would be super happy to be where they are right now. Yeah, and so I think you got to say that at this point, Andrew Friedman's done a pretty good job too.
Oh, I think so. Like I said, people knocked him at the beginning because he just acquired depth.
Exactly.
And now it's like, well, that was suddenly very fortuitous that he acquired all that depth.
Exactly.
Because we need it desperately.
Exactly. So we've talked about the pitchers for the most part. Let's talk about a hitter. And this is a hitter that hasn't played all season. I just wanted to touch on Andre Ethier because there's news this week that Andre Ethier says he might be able to return. He's been texting with some of the guys in the locker room. He's been talking about how he hopes to play in September. Does Ethier fit? Where does he fit? Who's not going to play if he does fit? And do you guys think that he could come back and give us something this season? Because he's being paid $17 million. He hasn't played this season.
Well, if he comes back, and I've said on this program that I'm still doubtful that we'll see him in a Dodger uniform, and I kind of stand by that. But if he does come back, I would like to see him come off the bench in a platoon role. The outfield is really intact right now. The only question mark in the outfield really is Howie Kendrick, who's kind of holding his own. And the way he's swinging, they're not going to take him out. And Andre's been out all year. You want to ease him back into it. Maybe give him a couple spot starts, but I want to see him come off the bench first in that utility position.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's, it's tough. It was such a freak accident too. You know that
Foul ball.
Yeah, that caused that injury. Well, because you've seen guys take foul balls off the leg. It just happened to hit him in like the one spot it can't hit him.
Right.
And same thing. I wouldn't want to force him back. I mean, he's still got another year on his contract too.
He does.
So I wouldn't want to force him back because you're still paying him again. You don't want
followed by a club option too,
which they would decline. Because he'll be 35, 36. Yeah. So that'll be declined. But I actually, to me, if he can come back, do you really need him at this point?
Well, they haven't really missed him.
Yeah.
But
Well, if another guy goes down, then yes.
No, but if another guy goes down, I think Puig's going to have to come back up.
Well, that's where it was going to lead to Puig, and that was going to say, do we need Puig? I mean, what's our status with what are we feeling about Yasiel Puig? And not just you guys. Tell us out there if you're listening, if you're watching. Tell us in the comment section. Let us know on social media. Do the Dodgers need Yasiel Puig at some point this season to do better than they would without him? He went down to AAA, and he's still in the news. He's having some fun on Snapchat, creating some videos that maybe are not the right ones to be putting out there. But he's doing pretty good at AAA. He's crushing, and so what's our future with Puig? Do we want to see him soon? Do we hold him back? Is he going to get called up on September 1? What do you guys think?
He was sent down for a couple of things. To get his stroke back, and he's crushing it right now at AAA. But he was also sent down to become a better teammate.
Mature a little bit.
To mature a little bit. And I had said earlier in the program that like he turned a corner this year. He's had less off-the-field issues. And the Snapchat, although it seems not like a big deal, kind of was a big deal. And that's one of the reasons people seem to realize, like, oh, he wasn't hitting, so he got sent down. No, he needs to grow up. And we got to keep in mind there's a big difference in pitching between AAA and the major leagues. So I'm happy to see that he's crushing the ball and playing well. But at the same time, until we really need him, I kind of want him to stay down a little bit longer.
Until we really need him.
Which could be next week.
I agree, because Reddick, I know he got off to a rough start, but he's been hitting. I think he had 2 hits each in the last 2 games. I think he's had a couple hits in each of the last 2 games.
Coming around.
Yeah, he'll come around. You know, so I'm not, and he plays. He doesn't have the arm of Puig, but he plays pretty good right field.
He has a pretty good, he doesn't have the Puig arm, but he's got a little cannon on him.
Nobody really has the Puig arm.
No. So to me, I feel the same way. I would like to see him down a little bit, because I think it is the maturity level. Because from apparently he was not well liked in that clubhouse at all. When Van Slyke made the comment to his dad, about Kershaw.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But they asked Kershaw about it. He didn't deny it.
Which is kind of telling.
Yeah, he didn't deny that, and we know Greinke didn't like him at all.
Greinke's his own cause, but sure, yeah.
Adrian Gonzalez has his own issues with him.
Yeah, Gonzalez has had issues with him, and
sure, it's pretty clear that Puig is an interesting case in a clubhouse with the guys around him. So that leads me to wonder: do we see Puig on September 1 with the call-ups? I would tell you, I don't think so. I think regardless of how he's performing in OKC, I think the Dodgers are going to make a point to kind of let him know that they mean business, that he doesn't just get called up with the rest of the teams. I do think we're going to see him in September, but I don't think it's going to be on September 1. What do you guys think?
I agree with that. I think we're going to see him when we have to, and he's just got to show that he belongs as a major leaguer, and that means off the field as well as on the field. And he's been having these hamstring issues, and I gotta wonder, is he not doing his pregame stretching? I had heard the rumors that he was always late to batting practice, because they have those call-outs when you have to be there, and he was always rushing out and being late, and it's just you want to see him act like a major leaguer.
Take a little bit more serious.
Yeah. And that's because I said the same thing. I said, it's got to be, does he not stretch? Does he just go out there and play? Because you can't do that. I mean, when you're a professional athlete, I know, I said it on the program, Lionel Messi stretches 2 hours before every game. So he can stay healthy, doesn't get that issue. Obviously he doesn't have to do that, but he at least needs to spend 15 minutes out there warming up a little bit.
You'd like to see him act like a professional athlete and take it a little bit more serious. It's great that he's in LA. He's, not in Cuba anymore. He got the big contract, and he came into stardom so quickly. You wonder, did that really affect him? Because he was such a star right when he burst onto the scene, and it's kind of gone the opposite way. And we've talked about this in the past. And so you just hope that this time maybe he's learning something by, being sent down to AAA and having to ride the bus and not get the glory of LA and all the fandom and stuff.
That's a good point. It definitely affected him. I mean, because he had, I think, he had maybe, I might get this wrong, 30 minor league games under his belt before he got called up, something like that. So, very low number. And incorporating that with a different culture coming from Cuba to the States. But at the same time, this is what, now year 3?
This is year 3.
This is year 3. First season, pass. Second season, okay, pass. Year 3, straighten up, buddy.
Well, even in the second season, he wasn't getting a pass from a lot of fans at that point either.
No, he wasn't.
First season, he did get a pass. Everyone was giving him the pass.
Well, because he
And
also
we needed him. What
said-
energy he brought.
He set high expectations for himself. He was an all-star right out the gate. He was. Everyone wanted to watch every at-bat that he had, and he's incredible. And so those expectations have led to now when he's disappointing that it's, continuous disappointment makes you wonder.
Which apparently from the rumblings I've been hearing, you're getting a little bit of with Bryce Harper this year. The monster season last year, the MVP season. What's he hitting, 250 this year?
Yeah, well, he's such a high-low guy. Like,
Yeah,
when the high is high, is good, and the low is low.
But he's got the attitude similar to Puig. Rumor is not well liked. And it's kind of fitting along those lines.
I want to talk about quickly a young star in the league that is based from Los Angeles. He plays on the Marlins, and we lost him for the season today, Giancarlo Stanton.
Second season in a row we've lost him for the year.
So he's out, which is, I touch on this because the Marlins are in a battle to be the second wild card. And so we could see them if we get into the wild card game. And that's a big loss for Miami.
Yeah,
I really didn't see the Marlins having this good of a year, especially with Manley at the first year at the helm. But tip of the hat to the former Dodger manager.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job.
He's done a fine job over there, especially with the Marlins organization, where they've kind of been known to be frugal over the years, which is an understatement.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Alex Rodriguez this week, as he was released after kind of being forced out from New York, and it was supposedly going to be he's retiring, and yet now there's rumblings that he could be going to Miami and replacing Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of Alex Rodriguez as a baseball
That's what
player.
I wanted to
This
know.
was like such an unceremonious dump by the Yankees, and I get why. Like he's not performing this year, and I don't know if you guys caught that last game of his, but he went and asked Girardi if he could start the game at third base, and he said no.
Yeah,
That's been an interesting situation in New York for that whole situation and drama unfolding.
but could he help the Marlins? I mean, that's like, could he really?
Yeah, no, I think he could. Oddly enough, even though the season he's having, I think he could help the Marlins. He knows that he's one of the greatest hitters ever.
The interesting thing is that if he was to suit up for Miami, he'd have to play the field, and so the rumors out there are
Left
talking
field?
about
First base.
So we don't know, but I mean, it would be remiss if we didn't talk about Alex Rodriguez, one of the best baseball players of our generation, steroids or not.
Yeah, he is.
So he is now out of the league. Let's talk about just the standings. We're right there, one game back of San Francisco. The Giants, like I said, they're imploding.
Yeah.
They're trying to give it to the Dodgers. It's great.
Loving it.
We're 45 games left this season.
And 9 against the Giants? I think still
I think 9.
something like that. Yeah.
Close to that number. 45 games left. Where's our feeling if the Dodgers can get the division?
If they actually won the division, I actually like their chances moving forward.
Oh, I agree.
But
Can I ask you?
can they get it?
Will the Dodgers get the division title?
Let's look into the
this
crystal
year?
ball here.
No, actually,
I want to know your feelings.
I think they can.
I think they can too.
I'm not sold. Cueto's actually. I think Cueto's been. I mean, he pitched
He's their
good today,
best pitcher.
but he has been struggling as of late. Samardzija's Samardzija. Everyone knows I'm not a Samardzija fan on this show, but Bumgarner's still Bumgarner. So so we need Kershaw back to truly take the. I think if Kershaw can come back in September and actually pitch, yes, I think we can take the division.
Okay, so you guys are both on the yes. I think that the Dodgers could take the division. Since I asked you guys to give me an answer, I got to give you an answer. I don't think the Dodgers are going to get the division. It's tight right now. I hope the Dodgers get the division, but I think that the Giants, because the Giants have been slumping, I think they're due for a flip the script hot streak at some point soon here. But I do think we're going to have a tight pennant race. It's interesting. We'll have to see how soon Kershaw can get back, because we're mid-August. Even if he's healthy, we're looking at maybe early September, the earliest, in the most optimistic of scenarios.
My guess is if you can get him, because I think we play the Giants at the end of the year, like right in the last week or two. If you can get him back for that series, that is where I can think they can take it.
So at the end of the day, the Dodgers they just need to keep it really close.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can just hang tight until Kershaw comes back, which they've done more than that.
Yeah.
They've been gaining ground without Kershaw, which is incredible.
They made up 6 games without him.
The thing that worries me is that Kershaw returns, and I feel like the rest of the Dodgers will return to their level. So then we'll be back in the scenario where Kershaw's carrying the team, and the rest of the team is struggling again. And then you always wonder, why can't they both go hot at the same time.
Because if they could both go hot at the same time,
they'd be the best team. Oh, they'd be unbelievable.
They'd have won a World Series by now.
Exactly.
I know Kershaw's had his postseason woes, but he has thrown in some really good games where they just did not score.
And some really bad games where he melted down.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. If there's anyone on the planet you want facing in any sort of big game situation for any team, it's Clayton Kershaw. Anyone will put him out there. So.
Yep. All right. So Kershaw's not going to be back next week. We will. But tell me this, guys. What are you guys looking forward for the team for the next week moving forward? What's something big to tell the fans and everyone watching? What are you looking for out of the Dodgers this next week?
Keep on winning, guys. I mean, we know injuries are kind of taking a toll here, but as long as the offense can keep up, then it's all good.
Yeah, I'm looking. I love the hitting right now. I love watching. I mean, is Corey Seager, not that he'd win it, but is he in the MVP conversation?
He's
just
top five.
Just the conversation. Not that he'd win. You got Rizzo on the Cubs. You got Bryant on the Cubs. You got Murphy on the Nationals. But wouldn't he have to be in the top 5?
That's Mike and I discussed this last week. He is absolutely a top 5 candidate right now. I don't think he's going to win it this year, obviously, but God, I love seeing this from him in his first year.
Yeah, I know.
And he should be. I would be happy with the 5th place, like 4th or 5th place, like finish.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the voting. That'd be huge.
For me, I'm looking for a healthy start from Rich Hill.
Yeah.
Productive, get in, get out, leave healthy, make sure the blister's behind him, because I think he's going to be a huge part of the rest of the Dodgers season.
He's in the middle of a career year right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Before the blister?
Incredible season. I was adamant about hoping that the Dodgers went after him, so I was surprised when they were able to acquire him for not giving up too much, and I'm excited to see what he can do with this team, and so I just want to make sure he comes through this week actually pitching and healthy, and that would be good news. I think that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. Tell them where they can find you guys.
Guys, Hunter_Marks, Twitter.
Me, I am at Gersh13.
And your name?
Josh Gershon.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Michael Rippe. You can find me all over social media at Mike Rips. And we will be back next week for Dodgers Wrap 360.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.